In this video, we're going to be using Katie's Bubbles 95 liquid labels and the Weight & Butcher for Barber's use. Stay tuned. Hey there folks, and welcome back for another video. I'm your host CDB. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And today we're going to bring you Katie's 95 liquid labels. And this comes to you for a good price. $14 for 4 ounces or $3.50 on our cost chart right there. That is a good price for a soap maker that's been doing it for a long time. The notes on this, we'll show them to you right there. Clean, fresh, citrus, apple, really nice scent. It is supposed to be reminiscent of a fragrance in 95. I think it was one of the Tommy Hilfiger fragrances, but don't hold me to that. I would call it just slightly under medium, far end of mild on the scent as far as that goes. So I would call it a light scent, but almost medium. It's where I would characterize the scent strength. We'll show you the ingredients right there. We have some good things that I like shea butter, jojoba, glycerin, really fine quality soap, Katie's Bubbles, and you've been seeing it more and more for good reason. The razor for today is the Weight & Butcher for Barber's use razor, which is an old razor. It dates back to the 1800s, and let's just get right into it today. We have our standard 24 hours growth. And today, these videos are a little bit out of order. This probably won't air until Monday, perhaps, maybe earlier, but today is actually Friday. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but it's Friday today. And I'm shooting this video and then doing some traveling. And so the videos will be a little bit out of order. And I want to mention, because I was talking to the dude of shaving yesterday, Junior, but he had mentioned that he was going to be doing some top lists. And I said, oh, I've already shot a lot of mine. So remember, you heard it here first before you see the onslaught of top list. I have already shot some. I have not aired them yet, but they will be coming. And it's always fun to see what people choose as sort of their favorites of 2020. And I have already shot those. So remember, you heard it here first. Junior was, I know, trying to get a head start. And I'm like, oh, I've already shot mine. They're already in the can, so to speak. Some of them, not all of them, but those will be coming, and the videos will be a little bit out of the order due to the holiday and the traveling and so on, but hopefully I have some good stuff for you, so keep it right here. I really appreciate you folks coming by. That's not lip service. It means a lot to me, so thank you so much. Today, might we behead some bumps? Maybe. They're healing, but they're still there, so if we behead a few bumps, we will not worry about it. That's for doggone sure. Okay, let's get going with this magnificent old razor. I can't remember what the hone job on this razor is like, but let's just get going with it and see how it is. It is sort of most of these older blades from the 1800s are sort of wedgy, even when some of them are called hollow. By today's standard, they're really not particularly hollow, at least from my perspective, relative to how hollow blades are made today. But these are magnificent old razors, and if you're lucky enough to get your hands on one, I would say grab it if it's not exorbitantly expensive. This one, I think I paid about $150 for, and it's in good shape. So that was a pretty good price for a razor of this age and quality. It's definitely an heirloom type razor that you might want to pass down. I really have reverence for these old blades, and thinking about who might have used this blade and how many people might have used it over the years, and what world events were taking place when the original owner of this blade was using it. I mean, it's just something interesting to think about. I really have reverence for that kind of stuff, and the older I get, the more I appreciate some of the things that our fathers and grandfathers did, especially those who served in World War II and Vietnam and World War I, and a lot of people made a lot of sacrifices. And of course, some of these blades go back to Civil War time, so these are really special blades. So keep that in mind when you obtain one of these razors that has this sort of age on it. Try to take good care of it. So another 150 years from now, somebody else can have it and think about, where this thing may have been. And I certainly plan to do that. So try to take care of them as best you can is my advice. I hope you're all having a great day. I want to mention something because I saw the video the other day, or maybe yesterday, and DK, who was talking about the post office. And, I have aired my fair share of complaints about the post office, but I always try to caveat that I believe by and large the people who work in the post office, the employees, your mail carriers, your clerks, and so on, I believe they work hard and they're doing by and large a good job. My criticism is usually for the organization, not the employees that are getting it done, like senior leadership, management, sort of the lack of evolution of that service over the years that keeps them broke because they were dependent on old snail mail and so on. So it's never meant to, people who work in the post office are just like you and I. They're just regular folks. But leadership-wise, I would say it's left much to be desired. And believe me, if you've ever had a problem with the post office, you will find that out because it's just, that's really my complaint. And I know DK, he works there, he's working hard, and we certainly don't mean any insult to the workers, but oftentimes, and believe me, before the Rona ever happened and the situation that we're in now with unprecedented volume. But I mean, most of us should have known this volume was coming, to be fair. I mean, we've known about the Rona. We've known people aren't going out and shopping. The government officials have been telling us not to. So it shouldn't have been a surprise. But it's one of those things where the problem for me is it causes the companies. I know Rod from Sterling had posted yesterday where he was getting so many complaints from people complaining to him. And there's just nothing these small businesses can do. The post office has, I think, some 600,000 employees. It is a big organization. And so I think there's a lot of expectations, and sometimes it just can't be met, those, especially now. But I would hope that in the future, organizationally, not the employees, that those in the leadership figure out a way to handle some of these things. Because I know, for example, my dad, he's a diabetic and he gets his medications through the mail. And it's not ideal to be waiting on medications that you desperately need from the post office. But that's the way they're sent, and that's the way he gets them. So, on one hand, they tell senior citizens, stay home, don't go out. And on the other hand, they're waiting on their medications. And so it's one thing when it's shaving soap or things like that. I understand how people can come off as seeming whiny, but it's another hand when we're talking about medications and things that are things that are absolutely critical. And, so just keep those things in mind. And also, please keep those employees in mind who are, working those additional hours, and try not to hold them, responsible. They don't really, your mail carrier or the clerk at the post office isn't making decisions about how that organization is going to run and maybe how they, enhance efficiency. So it's not their fault. And so I completely understand how folks who work at the post office can feel attacked, and we certainly don't want to give that impression. But I will say that issues with the post office have been going on forever. This is just a new wrinkle, and now there's an excuse, whereas there really wasn't before. And so, but again, don't blame the mail carrier or the clerk or your neighbor. Maybe they're not setting policy at the post office. So just try to be considerate, and also try to be considerate of the businesses who are depending on the post office, because they have no control over it. So keep that in mind, and keep in mind that a lot of people, retail workers at Amazon and many other places, are working very long hours to try to make sure that we get all the things that we need. Truck drivers. It's important to try to be grateful, and I am grateful for all of the folks who are who are working all these long hours to try to make it happen as best they can. And I realize it's not perfect, nor is anything, nor is my organization, that I work for. And so all we can do is be the best, do the best we can, and be patient and so on. But it's always a mixed bag when I hear complaints. But I hate it when it gets pointed towards the vendors who just simply don't have any control over it. But you'll also have the people that come through that goes, you shouldn't be whining about soap. And while that's true, when something's been sitting in a distribution center for over 2 weeks, sitting in the same place, it's like, come on, can we not get some folks in there and get that moving? I don't know. I don't work in that business. But I know when I was in the military, we would often be faced with problems like this, where there were things that were logistically very difficult, and they just basically said, make it happen. We don't care how long you have to work. So if you have to sit there and shovel all night to make this thing happen, you had to get it done. And so that's sort of my attitude about things. Let's figure out how to make it work. Let's not make excuses for why we can't do things. Because in this world, there are plenty of people who will make excuses on why things cannot be done. But especially as someone who manages people, I've always appreciated those employees that just get in there and go, let's figure out how we can make this work. And so I'm quite certain that a lot of these organizations are doing their very best. And I know the artisans are getting those things out as soon as they reasonably can. So please just be patient with everybody, including the post office, because it is certainly really a different time. But I think at the same time, we're 10 months in. We've sort of been, some organizations have adjusted very well to the Rona and are working very efficiently, and some have not. And, I hope we're all learning lessons. More importantly, I hope for the future, we have learned that this is probably not the only time we're ever going to see a virus like this. So I hope that everyone is sort of taking notes and figuring out how we can do things better, how we can educate our children better, how we can get things moving better in the future. I know a lot of businesses are, and they will be the ones that really are prepared going into the future. And then some businesses will still do things the same way, and it'll be bad. And so we really need to move with the times. And we're in an e-economy now where people just aren't going out and buying things in the store. And so I think we all need to recognize that. At the same time, another thing I would say is a lot of places were caught flat-footed during the Rona because of not having access to broadband. There are a lot of places in this country that don't have good, solid internet. And I think we should be looking at internet like a utility at this point. It's pretty much a critical service like your heat, water, power. And I think we need to start looking at it that way and making sure that, households have that, especially now with the Rona where kids have to do remote learning. So I just hope we all take lessons from this. I know I have learned a lot from this experience on how things can be done better and where we were sort of caught flat-footed. And I'm hoping that we will do better if we should ever have another situation like this. I hope we never face with it, but honestly, I don't know that we can have any assurance that even in, once the Rona is gone, we won't see this more in the future. Who knows? Hope not, but I'm not confident. So let's all take notes and try to do better. This soap is fantastic. Still great quality. It doesn't get the respect it deserves because it's an odor soap. They don't really advertise the way other companies do. And that's sort of Chris's way. He's just not an in-your-face kind of guy. He's not pushy. Do I have problems with aggressive marketing? No, I don't. But I would say Chris is one of those people that he sort of just puts the products out there, and you're not going to see it 1,000 times all over social media. But he's sort of willing to live with the fact that, hey, You know, it might not sell as much as the newest, hottest brands that reformulate and so on often. That's just his style. And so far it's served him well. Hopefully it will continue to serve him well, because this is very good quality stuff. You can see it, you know. You can see it here. It's working well today. It has worked magnificently. It's a great soap. It's a great scent. And so I'm very happy with it. It's been a wonderful shave. I know I've gotten, I really wanted to touch on those things, and I'm hoping that people will be patient. At the same time, I understand your frustration is really what I'm trying to say. Everyone's frustrated, but just try to be kind to the workers, I would say. But you certainly don't have to be happy with the organizations, you know, the management, the leadership, and our government that's, quite frankly, put a lot of pressure on the post office by making them fully fund all their pensions, and that's why they're operating in the red, folks. So, you know, just please keep that in mind and try to be considerate as you can, would be my advice. All right, that was an excellent shave. I hope you weren't too put off by the talking about the post office, but I felt it was important just to sort of take that, what I think is a reasonable approach, and understanding that it's fair to be upset, but at the same time, don't blame the employees. I mean, I hope you won't anyway. All right, let's rinse, and then we'll come back and get into the post. Stay tuned. All right, and we're back with the magic, made by witches. This is Thayer's Witch Hazel Cucumber. That was a magnificent shave. We did use the alum off cam, almost no stinging, so that was a nice, super smooth shave. I forgot to mention we used the TDR brush today with AP Shave Co. 2-bed synthetic knot, Captain's Choice bowl, my daily driver, Katie's Bubbles. This is 95 liquid labels, and of course this really, truly magnificent Wade and Butcher for Barber's use razor dating back to the 1800s. Just really excellent razor, and when I use it, I always just wonder where this guy has been, you know. I'm going to finish it out today with Katie's Bubbles. This is the LMR du Rosage toner, which is not an exact match for the Katie's Bubbles 95 liquid labels, but it's good. I also want to remind everybody, stay tuned for the list. They will be coming. They're already shot. And remember, you heard it here first. All right, excellent shave today. Fantastic scent. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Please be considerate of those retail employees, postal employees, and the vendors. That's what I ask of you. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I've been your host, CDB, reminding you, it's your shave, do it your way, and as always, God bless.